Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawk. We are Wisconsin.
From Miller Park, where once again we say thank you for the roof. Beautiful inside for Game 3 of this 4-game series between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds. Oh, did we have some thunder last night? Not one, not two, but 3 grand slams. Jay Bruce had one of them. He started the party. 1 inning later, Todd Frazier went long ball with the bases loaded. And the Brewers trying to slow those bats down tonight. Take the 3rd game of this 4-game set. Good evening from Miller Park. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Matt LePay. Sophia Minard is our reporter as well. To complete the story, Elian Herrera also hit a slam for the Brewers. So it wasn't all Cincinnati, but it was crazy, Rock. Wild night at the park. A night that you just don't see. You can count on one hand the number of times you see the number of slams that we saw last night.
Yeah, 4 times in Major League history where 3 grand slams were hit between the 2 teams. The Cincinnati Reds hit 2 of them. Jay Bruce and Todd Frazier with salamis. They haven't done that. 2 grand slams since 1999. 2 names I'm going to throw at you: Eddie Taubensee and Aaron Boone. Those are the 2 guys that hit that. Then Elian Herrera hits one his first day up with the big club. He came up from the minor leagues and really packed a punch. He had 5 RBIs all told, and one of 4 guys that are considered role players on his ball club because of all the guys on the disabled list right now. You got Lucroy, you got Jeanette, you got Carlos Gomez. So this is the names. These guys combined 6 for 16, 7 RBIs, 7 runs scored, and a couple of walks. So those guys did their part last night.
Yeah, that term role players, their role elevated as Herrera and Maldonado in the starting lineup once again tonight. A lot of runs last night, maybe not so many tonight. Good matchup, Nelson and Cueto. Craig and Augie will have more on that duel as we continue. Get ready for Game 3 on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
At Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. Brewers and Reds here tonight. A 20-game winner on the mound against an up-and-comer. Johnny Cueto, the veteran, and Jimmy Nelson, the newcomer, both sparkling ERAs. As we take a look at our pitching matchup tonight here. And Augie, Johnny Cueto, every year he's going to be a Cy Young candidate. Finished second in the balloting last year, won 20 games. But is winless early on here, now his fourth start.
Yeah, you know, the one thing with Johnny Cueto, you get a little bit of everything with him, and it's all very good. First of all, he's got all the pitches. He changes speeds. He locates the ball. Secondly, he's really got that real funny delivery. One time he'll come right at you, and next time he'll come, he'll do a little Louis Tiant twist, show his back to you and come right at you. And I'll tell you what, he throws strikes. One thing he will do, he will challenge you to beat him, and he goes out each and every night and just does that. And then we're looking for the Brewers side. We're looking at Jimmy Nelson, and one thing Jimmy Nelson has to do tonight, he's going up against the best, and he's got to accept that challenge. It's all about getting that breaking ball over the plate, commanding, getting ahead of hitters, using the fastball efficiently, and I'm going to tell you what, he's got to go up and stick to his game plan. Don't try to do too much. Go out there and enjoy the game because he's going to have a good night, and he's pitching against the best.
Johnny Cueto, a sparkling ERA, as I mentioned, a 2.14, but he's 0-2 on the season, and he is ready to pitch against Milwaukee here tonight. Again, start number 4 for him. Jimmy Nelson, start number 3, his ERA at 1.50. Let's see if it can stay that low.
Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Jimmy Nelson, the last time he started here at Miller Park, he was just terrific. 7 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball, a career high 9 strikeouts. Trying to cool off Brian Price's team that has rolled into town and has put up 26 or 22 runs in 2 games, including 16 last night in a 16-10 victory. Here's the Reds batting order, brought to you by Potawatomi. Billy Hamilton, Joey Votto, and Todd Frazier at the top of the order. Brandon Phillips hitting cleanup again, followed by Jay Bruce and Marlon Byrd. Ryan Pena, Zach Cozart, and Johnny Cueto rounding out the batting order. And facing Jimmy Nelson.
Only start for Nelson against the Reds came last July. Took a no decision. He's Been in 3 games against Cincinnati. One of them starts. Last pitch against the Pirates. Took a loss. 3 runs, 2 earned runs. Took him 73 pitches to get through 5 innings.
As we are about set to go, Billy Hamilton settling in, and as soon as they close the gates, we will be underway here in Milwaukee. It was quite the offensive show here last night. 7 home runs, 5 from the Reds, 2 from the Brewers, 3 grand slams, which has now happened 4 times ever in the big leagues. A 16-10 ball game, and Billy Hamilton was pretty quiet. It was Elian Herrera. He had one of the 3 slams last night. Hamilton had a hit and 6 trips to the plate, which in theory is a good thing, but the way the homer bats were going, it didn't much matter, and Hamilton starts the proceedings with a base hit to left.
Yeah, we were told that the Reds were not swinging the bats all that well when they came to Miller Park. But try telling that to the Brewers pitching staff. Of course, the Brewers staff has been giving him some pretty good pitches to hit. Let's check out the Brewers defense. Brought to you by Menards tonight. Got Davis, Parra, and Braun in the outfield. Ramirez, Segura, Elian Herrera, of course, gets another start tonight at second base. Adam Lind at first, and Martin Maldonado back-to-back starts behind home plate.
Hamilton 8 of 8 in stolen bases. The Reds are still perfect as a team. 16 attempts and successful every time. The Pirates were able to get the running game going against Jimmy Nelson last Friday, stealing 3 bases in 4 attempts on the night. The Reds a very aggressive team, none more so than Hamilton. And a strike to Joey Votto.
And because of Billy Hamilton, Reds lead the National League right now in stolen bases. 1 ahead of the Cubs.
Nelson will be keeping a close eye on the Reds center fielder. Votto has had himself quite the series. He is homered in each of the first 2 games and now has 6 on the year.
And once again off to a terrific start this year. On base percentage at almost 500.
Hamilton's going. Pitch is outside. The throw down to second is not in time. Hamilton's 9 for 9.
And just a little bit too high. I thought Maldonado had a shot at him, but the throw had to be right on the bag. Nelson not all that quick to home plate. That's one thing that I'm not sure you can ask of him at this point. I mean, that high leg kick with Hamilton on the move, not much chance for Maldonado, but if he puts it right on the bag, you might be able to get him.
A ball, a strike to Joey Votto. Hitting .377 coming into the game. He has been aggressive. He's a very patient hitter, but he's been aggressive in this series. And that power is coming back after an injury plague 2014. And that's a base hit to left, and Hamilton will turn third, and just like that, the Reds take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, fastball up out over the plate. Votto never trying to pull the baseball, and hits a line drive into left field. Well, once again, the Brewers have to play from behind. That's not where you want that 2-seam fastball up out over the plate. And Votto too good of a hitter to miss that pitch. Didn't try and pull it, and hits it hard into left for the RBI.
So the first 2 Reds reach, and Hamilton gets the first run of the night. Todd Frazier. Had 2 hits, including the slam, and he is enjoying a very good series, as you can see. Reds came to town having lost 4 straight and hitting about 200, a shade under in that stretch. They have turned it around so far in this series. They'll play again tomorrow, the series wrap up.
They really haven't missed any of the mistakes the Brewer pitching staff has given them. And when the Brewers defense gives them an extra out, they take advantage of it.
Reds come in 7-7 as you look at the cleanup hitter Brandon Phillips on deck. 2 strikes and nothing to Todd Frazier. Missing with a fastball, a ball, 2 strikes.
And Nelson gets that fastball up when he's good and loose at about 95, 96. That one at 94. He'll throw the slider and that spike curveball. We haven't seen the curveball yet.
Votto, the runner at first. And this is back to Nelson. He'll flip to Herrera for 1 on to first, and that's a double play. 1-4-3 as Nelson starts it. And the base is now empty with 2 out.
It was almost as if Nelson was thinking about just shoveling that ball over to first base. But then remembered that Votto's over there at first and maybe turned the double play. Check it out right here. I guess just trying to get himself into position and gives Herrera a good throw. But he took a hard look over to Adam Lind before he threw that ball to second.
They're still able to turn it. And now the bases are empty for Brandon Phillips. Phillips sat out Monday night's game, was back in there last night for the Reds. And had two hits and 6 trips to the plate. Well, logic would tell us that this would be a much lower scoring game. I mean, you don't expect 16-10 anyway, but 2 pitchers with low ERAs. We'll find out logic doesn't always unfold the way you think it will in this game.
Yeah, you can't outthink the game, can you?
No.
And sometimes you think you have it figured out.
There's a fly ball hit back into left field. Chris Davis at the track will have room. And it's a long fly ball that the park will hold. Reds get a run. Brewers take their first shot at Johnny Cueto. Team will get their first at bat here of the night. Let's take a look at the Brewers batting order presented by Potawatomi. Gene Segura, Elian Herrera, and Ryan Braun at the top. Adam Lind, Chris Davis, Aramis Ramirez 4 through 6. Gerardo Parra bats 7th, Martin Maldonado 8th, and Jimmy Nelson 9th against about almost as good as it gets in the National League, Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, one of the best right-handers in all of baseball. Last year, 29 at 225 earned run average. That was second best in the National League in earned run average. He's been throwing well, but hasn't been getting any runs. He's 0-2 with a 214 earned run average.
His first outing, it was a Reds win, but he was the victim of a blown save. And then lost to the Cardinals a couple of times. Gene Segura, ground ball to short. That's Zach Kozart, and that's out number 1. Time now. Take a look at our T-Mobile game changer. Elian Herrera did all he could to change the game last night. He had 5 RBIs all of last year. He matched it last night. Take a look at that. And his grand slam pulled the Brewers to within 3 at 13-10.
And got called up yesterday and had a big impact. And it'd be a shame not to put him in the lineup again tonight. The switch hitter.
1-1 the count. Scooter Gennett, Carlos Gomez, Jonathan Lucroy all on the 15-day disabled list. And an opportunity with Segura out for Herrera, who shortens up and bunts it foul. Johnny Cueto, the runner-up in Cy Young voting to Clayton Kershaw last year.
This is the 17 start career for Cueto against the Brewers. 7-3, a 3.06 earned run average, but has never won here at Miller Park.
About that, yeah. The 2 times he faced him last year, it was a Great American ballpark. Beat him on May 3rd and over again in Cincinnati the 3rd week of September. And went 8 innings in both of those outings. So he's not invincible, as you see.
Yeah, 6 starts, 0-3 with an earned run average around 5. That's unheard of for Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, the one outing 5 years ago in September of 2010. The Brewers lit him up. 8 runs they scored on him in the 2nd inning. He lasted an inning and a third.
Yeah. That'll blow up an earned run average, won't it?
Yes, it will. Payoff, and Herrera works Cueto for a walk.
Only the 4th walk that Cueto has issued this year to go along with 24 strikeouts. Well, let's check out the Menards Reds defense tonight. You got Bird, Hamilton, and Bruce in the outfield. Now basically it's the same defense as they had last night. Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, and Votto in the infield. Brian Pena, the switch hitting catcher behind home plate. He's hanging the signs for Johnny Cueto tonight.
Devin Mesoraco with hip trouble, although Mesoraco did serve as a pinch hitter last night. Ryan Braun, 2 nights ago, homered in the 9th inning to give him 231 in his career. That is 2nd best in franchise history. Robin Yount is ahead of him, 251. On a couple of hits last night.
And he's starting to swing the bat better. And the one thing you're going to see with the Brewers tonight against Cueto, you don't mess around. If he gives you a fastball that you feel like you can hit, there's really no sense in taking it, because the deeper into the count Cueto gets on you, the tougher he is. He's got a good fastball. He gets it up there pretty good, and a great changeup. And he'll flip a couple of different curveballs up there from time to time.
Cueto checking Herrera. Brewers with just 2 stolen bases coming into this game as a team. Gene Segura has both. Cueto, a 20-game winner last year, won his final start, the final game of the season, beat Pittsburgh, and that was a high-stakes game for the Pirates. Braun fouls it off his foot, and he felt that.
And that's that changeup. It's a good one. It dives when it gets to home plate. Starts out pretty good, then kind of goes down in the strike zone, almost like a splitter. And gets that one right off the instep, right off the side of the foot. Actually got the padding, didn't it?
Looked like maybe part of it.
Part of it, yeah.
He was certainly wincing. Now settles back in. 1-2 the count. A balk has been called here on Cueto, so Herrera moves to 2nd.
And he brought the front leg up, bent the knee, and went over to first base. That's a balk. Can't do that. Check out, watch the front leg. He did a little bit of a flinch and a bend. Boy, that's ticky-tack. But Angel Hernandez over at first base calls the balk. Wasn't much of a move, was
No,
it?
there wasn't a whole lot there. The Brewers will gladly take it. Well, let's see if Braun can pick up Elian Herrera. And he will not as he goes down swinging. 2 men out of the first. Cueto last year led the National League in a number of categories, including strikeouts, with 242.
Yep, innings pitched. He tied for the league lead in starts.
Gave up just a shade more than 6 hits per 9 innings. Mentioned that 20th win against the Pirates. That was a game Pittsburgh was going all in to win. Still trying to force a tiebreaker and maybe get a division championship, but Cueto was able to shut him down. Reds' first 20-game winner since the late 80s, 1988 to be exact. Adam Lim with a ground ball. That's going to slip through a base hit. Eddie Cedar will wave Herrera around third, and this game is tied. RBI knock for Adam Lim.
Yeah, answering right back with that Reds running to first. Well, Adam Lim, a pitch up in the zone, able to get enough of it. He beat the shift. Well, he had Cozart up the middle, but he hit it in a good spot. Look at that cut fastball that really didn't do much. Up in the zone, and Lind able to get enough of it to sneak it into center field. Doing a good job trying to stay on top of that high pitch.
So both teams scratch here in the first. Reds have kept Chris Davis quiet for the most part through the first 2 games. One and one the count.
It's such a nice job on the last road trip, taking everything to the opposite field. Looks a little bit more pull conscious here at Miller Park.
Davis will lift this out of play. The count is 1-2.
Guys that hit home runs like Chris Davis, even though they were really swinging the bat well on the road trip, got off to a good start, driving the ball to right with no home runs. And when you're a home run hitter and you're not hitting it out of the ballpark, you have a tendency to try to do it a little bit too much.
You have to go back to September 5th of last year. The last time Davis went deep was off of John Lackey, the Cardinals.
You start feeling good at the plate, then you try a little bit too hard to hit the ball out of the ballpark, and then you kind of get out of your approach.
Cueto ready with a 2-2. Hit in the air. Left center field. Billy Hamilton calls for it. Inning over. But the Brewers counter. Reds score to the top of the first. The Brewers match it, and we are tied through 1.
Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. We are tied up at 1 as we start the second inning, and talking with Jimmy Nelson yesterday about the start of his season, how big that curveball has been for him. And he said, last year, everything that I threw was hard. So it's about changing the timing for the hitter, giving them a different pace. He said whether it was slowing up the changeup or going with the new curveball, a softer look. He said so far it's worked out really well early in the season. 9 strikeouts, a career high for him in his last start here at Miller Park and his season debut in Pittsburgh. So Nelson happy with the development of that curveball.
Yeah, it could be a career changer for him. I mean, a starting pitcher needs to have something to keep the hitters off the hard stuff, the slider and the fastball. Plus, we talked to Ron Redicky, Rick Kranitz. You know, the Nelson slider is not nearly what it was last year in the minor leagues. He's still trying to get a feel for that pitch.
It was interesting how the Pirates tried to adjust to it because they were so baffled as Jay Bruce leads off the second. As Craig Kashan was telling us at PNC over the weekend, Pirates came out about 3:30 in the afternoon, had the machine set up to throw curveballs. And it wasn't like they were knocking them all over the park. But they had a little more success against him and ran well. Nelson strikes out Jay Bruce to start the second.
There's a good slider, that back leg slider to a left-hander, and that's a good pitch to Jay Bruce. As long as you get it down in the strike zone, there's the slider grip, the spin, and watch it disappear. And Bruce right over the top of it.
First strikeout for Nelson tonight. Now he'll face the veteran Marlon Byrd. There weren't many who went hitless last night, but Byrd took an 0 for 3. The Reds had 13 hits to go with the 16 runs. The long ball power giving you a little bit of an unusual line score. 16 runs on 13 hits. The Brewers had 10 runs on 12 hits. 0-2 the count.
I think both of these teams swung the bat last night like they expected they would coming out of spring training.
Yeah, there were a lot of hitters squaring up. Byrd, his first year with the Reds. He's been many other places, including the Phillies last year, Pirates and Mets the year before. Here's the 0-2.
Byrd, pretty good opposite field hitter, so if you're going to work him away, you got to keep it down in the zone. That was a good slider by Jimmy Nelson. Very encouraging to see that slider the way it's been so far today. Shade him up the middle with Herrera, pretty much straight away with everybody else.
Got him swinging. 2 up, 2 down via the strikeout for Jimmy Nelson.
Hey, the Brewers' annual 5-county 5-day celebration is back as a thank you to the best fans in baseball. 5-county residents save 50% on tickets Monday the 4th of May through Friday the 8th as the Brewers host the LA Dodgers and the Cubs. For details, visit brewers.com/5county.
Ryan Pena, the hitter. There's a lay one down, fouls it away. Pena, a couple of hits and 4 trips last night. Enjoying a pretty good series, as you can see. Here's the 0-1. A bouncer to second. That's Herrera. And a 3 up, 3 down inning for Jimmy Nelson. Bottom of the second we go, tied at 1. Let's take a look at our DraftKings player to watch, and it is Aramis Ramirez, who has big-time numbers against the Cincinnati Reds. Gone deep 5 times on Cueto. It's the most given up by someone facing the Reds right-handed. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Enter promo code CREW.
And the Brewers sorely need Ramirez to start heating up.
Singled in a pinch hitting role last night, which snapped an 0 for 15 slide for the Brewers third baseman. Those numbers we showed you, not those, but a moment ago against Cueto, that's a very, very short list. In fact, party of 1 with 5 homers against Cueto.
Right. Yeah, Gerardo Parra on deck has good numbers against him as well.
With a little long ball power to boot. So let's see. The Brewers put a run on the board in the first. See what they can do in the second. Shallow right. And it will be Brandon Phillips taking control. First out of the inning.
That just gives you so many different looks. I mean, not just with the pitches and the locations, with Johnny Cueto, but the delivery itself. I mean, sometimes he's going to lull you to sleep, will turn his back, and then he'll come at you quickly from time to time. You just never know what you're going to get and what arm angle you're going to get it with. It's almost as if he toys with hitters up there. I mean, he's so good. He's got such good location, confident in all of his pitches that sometimes I think he gets bored out there.
Must be nice.
Just trying to have some fun, mixing it up a little bit.
Well, there was an example there. You didn't see that Lou Tion twist.
Yeah, right there. There's that little bit of a quick pitch. Did not turn the back. Just something to keep the hitter off balance.
Parra goes back up the middle and a base hit. Gerardo has hit Cueto pretty well. He's now 7 for 18 against Johnny Cueto. And 1 for 1 tonight.
Yeah, something off speed at 84 miles an hour up in the strike zone. There's the other one, the Louis Tion-esque delivery. There's a changeup that was up in the zone, and boy, Parra doing a nice job staying back and continues his good success against Cueto.
Parra scoots off the bag as Martin Maldonado takes inside. His first hit of the season last night, Maldonado, and it was a loud one, a 2-run homer that got the Brewers on the board.
And that's what Maldi will give you. He'll give you some pop. Some pop in that bat. You're not going to see the huge average, but every now and again he's going to run one out of here. And you're always going to get good defense.
Mentioned Cueto won 20 games last year. 3 years ago he won 19. Had the starting assignment in the first game of the Reds division series against the Giants, but had to leave in the first inning because of back spasms. That was a series that became a heck of a gut punch for the Reds franchise. They won the first 2 games in San Francisco, came home to Cincinnati. This was a best of 5, and they had home field for the final 3 games. So 3 chances to win 1, and they didn't do it.
Right. Lost all 3.
Cueto was unavailable to pitch game 5. Moral to the story again, as we've spoken about, don't play the Giants in even years in the postseason.
And late in the season.
Buster Posey hit a grand slam in that game to break it open. The following year, the Reds are in a wild card game with Cueto as a starter, Pittsburgh, and he struggled, and he was serenaded by a loud crowd at PNC Park. Go to first, and Parra dives back.
You always have to take advantage of every chance you get on Johnny Cueto, because you don't get too many. Not a guy that you're going to be able to ordinarily, except for that one outing that he had against the Brewers where they put an 8th spot on him in less than 2 innings, but not a guy that's going to give up multiple hits in an inning all that often. Got to manufacture runs against a guy like this.
It's in the final year of his contract. Someone who is in line health permitting, and pitches the way that he thinks he can of a monster payday. Maldonado with a fly ball hit back into right field. Jay Bruce, edge of the track, will make the catch out number 2.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to back up the Brinks truck to make Johnny Cueto happy. Not sure it's going to be the Reds, though.
It's tough for a market of that size. As fans around here know, it becomes very, very difficult.
He's 29 years old. He's got some time left.
2 men out for Jimmy Nelson. And another balk has been called on Cueto. Second one tonight.
Yeah, well, Angel Hernandez is known for that. Second balk, and look at Brian Price. Don't get him upset. He's got a short fuse these days. Watch the front knee. Does it flinch? Does it bend? Yes, it does. And I guess by the letter of the law, that's a balk. Doesn't get called on Cueto all that often, so they call that a balk move. You get away with it, you're going to pick some runners off.
And a frustrated look, to say the least, for Cueto. Angel Hernandez has caught him twice.
Brian Price not going out, though. I'm surprised second time he doesn't go out and talk to Angel Hernandez at first base.
He's known as a pretty even-keeled guy, but you're right, Rock. He has been pretty vocal on a couple of issues in the last week and a half. Nelson swings and misses. The widely heard expletive-laced tirade that a reporter from Cincinnati, actually here at Miller Park, it was on Monday afternoon. The reporter mentioned that Devin Mesoraco was not going to be available, was not going to be in St. Louis for the end of that series, Reds and the Cardinals. Price later apologized for the expletives, but didn't apologize for the content of the message. Just didn't appreciate the fact that a reporter broke that they were going to be short on the bench a little bit.
He didn't like the fact that the reporter was doing his job.
Pretty much. But Price, very respected and very well liked.
Yeah.
He's had, up until this first 2 games of the series, a tough stretch. And Nelson goes down swinging, and that'll be it for the Brewers here in the second. We are through 2, tied at 1. One of the things we love to do here on our Brewers telecast is update you on some of the minor leaguers, and we'll have a chance to do that now with Mark Miller, the manager of administration and player development, because there's a lot to talk about. There is some fun young talent out there, Mark. And first, thanks for joining us here in the broadcast booth. And first, before we talk about specific players, let's talk about the Shuckers, Biloxi. They have the ultimate road trip going on right now. How's this 55-game road swing going?
Yes, they are in their third city of 55 games. It's 8 different cities, 55 games on the road. If you're familiar with the Johnny Cash song "I've Been Everywhere," I think they could say that once they're all done with this trip. But they're going everywhere from Pensacola up to Chattanooga, over to Jackson, Tennessee. So they're on the road all the time. But they're looking at it as a challenge and accepting it, and they know what they have to look forward to. A brand new stadium. They've taken a tour of it, so they know what's coming down the road. So they're fine with doing it, playing pretty well, and looking forward to getting down there.
Now that's a pretty fat meal money envelope that they get, huh? I mean, what's minor league meal money in Double-A?
Well, actually, it's not as much as you might think. It's $25 a day at every minor league place.
Times 55.
Times 55, that's true. And a couple off days sprinkled in there, too. So if they got hotel reward points, they're going to be racking up some of those. So, but yeah, there's going to be some drawbacks, but they're looking forward to, continuing and getting down to Biloxi. The fan base is real excited. The stadiums, they're building it every day. So
Got a lot of home games coming up. That's a good side, right?
Yeah, that's just something to look forward to.
Yeah, so. Some of these guys here, Yadiel Rivera. You saw a lot of these guys in spring training. Brooks Hall had a heck of a game. Last night on the mound. He
threw 6 innings, 1 hitter, punched out 6, and helped his own cause. Hit a home run, first career home run. It's professional, so quite an outing. They've already played their game today. Tyler Wagner threw for them, picked up his 3rd win of the year. So they're playing real well. Defense is playing well. I think they've got 1 error so far this season as a team. So Brooks Hall, you saw him at big league camp last couple of years. You might have seen him on TV, but he's fastball, curveball. Best pitch is probably a changeup. So last season was a little bit of a lost season for him. Injured, so he's looking to bounce back this year.
I don't think most people realize, all that goes into, when the Brewers make a player move. I mean, there's been a lot of moves, guys going back and forth. That has a big impact on the minor leagues. You're directly involved in all that, moving guys around. How's that been this week?
Yeah, it's been a busy few days for me. Anytime a move happens at the major league level, you'll see a trickle down. Guys got to move up to fill in spots. We had 3 players move today between teams. Yesterday, I think we had a couple. So I'm directly involved with that. I handle all the transportation details, getting them from point A to point B, so everyone knows where they're going, what time they're coming in, and where they need to be. So it's been a busy couple days. It's just part of the job. You go through spells like that every now and then.
We're visiting with Mark Miller, the manager of administration and player development, getting you caught up on some of the young talent in the Brewers system. I wanted to ask you about Clint Coulter at Brevard County now. He's made the switch defensively from behind the plate now in the outfield. And as he makes that adjustment, it seems like the offense has been just fine. He's really hitting the ball, isn't he?
Yeah, he's switching positions, so you never know kind of what guys are how they're going to handle that. But he's embraced the switch. I know he was working out all offseason down in Phoenix at our complex with our guys. He's playing well, hitting the ball well. So there's no drop-off with his batting. And he told me he likes playing in the outfield, so a little further away from the action, but he's enjoying it.
We had a chance to visit with him last September here at Miller Park. He has a real presence about him, it seems. I mean, he's a big guy, and there's a physical presence that you can't. It's impossible not to notice.
Yeah, he's definitely well built, and he carries himself real well as a professional. We like having Clint in the system, and glad to see he's off to such a great start this year.
You guys have some really talented middle infielders down in the minor leagues. I mean, we saw Sardinius, Arcia. Tell us a little bit about their progress.
Sure. Arcia, I could tell you about him. He's playing for us every day at Biloxi. Started the season there as the 2nd youngest player in the entire Southern League. I don't think he'll be 21 until August. He's plus defender, good range, good arm. He just needs some more seasoning. I'm sure he'll be up here in the near future. But he's a very confident young man, very sure of himself, and when you watch him play, he looks like a big leaguer. He just got to fill out a little bit more and keep getting the at bats and getting the playing time.
And finally, I want to ask you about Cody Medeiros, the Midwest League. Pretty good whip right now, right? He's getting it done.
He is. He's doing well. I know he's on the mound tonight, so I'm not sure if the numbers are still the same, but. He's pitching up in Appleton. Might be the coldest he's ever played up there, being from Hawaii. but he's definitely off to a great start. Another guy who's very young for his league. He won't be 19 until next month, actually. So he's doing real well. Couple of games. He's looking for his first win, but he started off pretty well for a kid who's only 18 years old. Was pitching in Hawaii high school baseball last year at this time.
Dustin DeMuth as well, 400 hitter at this early stage of the season. Visiting with Mark Miller, talking player development in this Brewers system. I want to go back to the Shuckers. You touched on it. Just want to, with the road trip that they're on, the 55-game road trip. But MGM Park, that is still on target, from what I understand,
yes.
early June?
Yes, from what I understand, they're still working right now on the irrigation that goes underneath the field and the scoreboard. Once they get those two things in, they should be able to start rolling out the turf so they can start getting that take hold. That's obviously a big component, but they just need to get those two things done so they can get the heavy equipment off the playing surface and then get the turf unrolled so they can get it going. But yeah, you can look at it on their web. They have a webcam on their website. You can check it out every day. You see a little bit. The seats start moving around the stadium where they're installing them. So it's kind of cool to see.
I did the math, by the way, on the meal money.
Uh-oh.
It's about $1,400 bucks, a little bit more. I mean, 55 games, $1,400. That wouldn't last very long with me.
No, I got it.
Rock, what was your meal money back then?
Yeah, it wasn't 25. I think it was $12, I think, back in those days. Yeah, back in 8-ball AA.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of people have a perception that minor leagues it's glamorous playing Major League Baseball. It is on the Major League level. On the minor league level, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of bus rides. You got to stretch your money and then make it work. But these guys are tracing a dream.
Yeah.
So it's something they like to do, and hopefully it pays off for our guys.
And plus, there's no real Ritz-Carlton they stay in either, right?
No.
No $25 cups of pots of coffee.
A lot of Marriotts and courtyards.
Billy Hamilton draws a 2-out walk. He stole a base and scored in the first. We continue our conversation with Mark Miller, manager, administration, and player development. Bottom line here, Mark, is that there's a lot to be excited about, I think, for Brewer fans out here, and obviously for all of you in the organization as you watch these guys continue to grow. We mentioned Coulter, minor league player of the year in the system last year, working his way up, and these guys in Double-A. That's some AAA as well, and we're seeing some of these guys make the jump here because of injuries and such. But there is a lot of exciting young talent that I think Brewer fans have a lot to look forward to.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot to look forward to. I get excited when I see guys do well at Double-A personally, because that's if you can play at Double-A, you should be able to play at least a little bit in the big leagues. That's where the funnel, if you will, gets smaller. You got guys who've got big league experience there, pitchers that can locate all their pitches. So so when guys perform well at Double-A, that's when I get excited, because they're not that far off from being up here in the big leagues.
And how difficult a transition was it for the organization? I mean, it's it's not uncommon to have maybe Double-A move to a new city, but you guys had two different cities to have to move to. Biloxi and Colorado Springs. That's kind of unusual.
Yeah, it is a little bit of turnover for us. Colorado Springs and Biloxi. We did know some of the people from Biloxi coming over from Huntsville. So our relationship with them could continue. Colorado Springs, it's just starting from scratch, getting to know people, getting to work together. And they're great so far. I think they're very helpful and good communication. So it's a little bit different. You find yourself typing Nashville instead of Colorado Springs sometimes, because we were in Nashville for so long. But it's a little adjustment, but we'll be fine, and shouldn't have any problem moving forward.
Hamilton is on the move. There's a fly ball down the line. Davis runs it down right on the line. Mark, thanks so much. And good luck to you. Continued success.
Thank you.
Good job, man. All right, bottom of the third we go. Tied at 1 here in Milwaukee. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Good work by Jimmy Nelson. Here's so far. Hey, fans, vote for your MVP. Help us decide which Fox Sports Supports partner will be crowned the winner. The charity with the most votes at the end of this Brewers season will score big with a donation from Pupi and Abraham SC. Choose from the American Heart Association of Wisconsin, Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee, or Fisher House, Wisconsin. To vote, visit foxsportswisconsin.com/supports. And that was not a very good effort on my part. Here's Gene Segura, line drive to left, and a rolling catch is made by Marlon Byrd.
Yeah, pretty close down there, almost a trap. I think umpires weren't sure about it, but the out was called. Boy, Segura hit that one right on the nose. Tough break for him. Here comes Marlon Byrd going across, then has to come in, and just barely able to pick that one before it hit the grass. That was a good catch, a good call by the second base umpire, Scott Berry.
Nice play by Marlon Byrd. Taking a hit away from Gene Segura, and here's Elian Herrera.
That was a good job by Mark Miller. I mean, good information, and he knows what he's talking about for sure.
Yeah, I agree. That's fun. That's what the real baseball fan enjoys hearing about. These young players working their way through the system, and I know, Rock, you and B.A., Craig, you had a chance to see a lot of those guys in the Cactus League, and this is a genuine reason for optimism as Herrera grounds to third. Frazier handles it, and quickly 2 men out.
But that Biloxi story is an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, you just don't see that ever. I mean, a 55-game road trip.
That is unbelievable. Man. Those guys, they get through that okay. They continue to develop.
Right.
You got something going. It'll be fun in early June when they open up their park, GM Park. Well, you think those 3-city 9-game trips are bad, huh?
Right.
In the big leagues.
Never complain again. But the flip side of that, they're going to have some nice homestands coming up.
That's true. Ryan Braun struck out his first trip.
Doesn't get too hot and muggy late in the year in Biloxi, does it?
No, it's very comfortable. Just enough humidity to make you sweat as soon as you get out of the shower.
Right.
Nice and comfortable here in Miller Park as we again say thank you for the roof. It is spring here, they tell us, but
snow today here.
Yeah, more fall-like weather. Packers schedule out, so gets you thinking about football, but good to be inside beautiful Miller Park. Folks from Cincinnati on Monday were saying, man, wish we had one of those at the Reds ballpark.
Yeah, should be mandatory. Every new stadium now, right?
Absolutely. Ron, a little squibbler. Brandon Phillips. Cueto rolls through the third inning. After 3 at Miller Park, 1-1 the score. Time now for the carsoup.com trivia question. Prior to last night, when was the last time two teams combined to hit 3 grand slams in a National League game? Prior to last night, when was the last time two teams combined to hit 3 grand slams in a National League game? Yeah, we saw a rarity last night at Miller Park. Frazier trying to bunt, fouls it for strike 1.
4 times in Major League history. That's amazing. I mean, they really didn't think about it last night.
Well, no, it's I couldn't recall
sitting
through a game, watching a game where there were 3 grand slams. I mean, you're hard pressed to come up with 2. The Reds hit theirs in back-to-back innings. And it was a game where it was scoreless through 2. Neither team scratched in the first 2 innings, and the same for the last 2. Everything was done innings 3 through 7. Reds scored in 5 straight innings.
Crooked numbers in every one.
Yeah, they did. Two balls, 1 strike to Frazier. Bounced into a 1-4-3 double play his first trip.
And Nelson got him on a very good slider. Tried to pull it right off the end of the bat.
All-star last year. He's in with 4 homers. He's driven in 13. And he draws a walk.
Hey, get your tickets to this weekend's divisional battle at Miller Park, Friday, April 24th through Sunday, the 26th. The Brewers face off against Yadier Molina and the Cardinals. Call 414-902-4000 or go to Brewers.com to reserve your spot today.
Cardinals had their winning streak snapped at 5 last night. Nats walked them off. They are tied at 5 tonight in the 7th inning. Pirates lead the Cubs 4-1 in Pittsburgh. In the bottom of the 6th there. Cubbies rallied last night. Scored 3 times off Mark Melancon. Ended up winning that game 9-8.
Yeah, Cubs have won 7 of their last 10.
Curve misses. Yeah, the Brewers' tour of the Central Division will take them to Wrigley Field. Not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah. Hottest team in baseball right now, the Mets. They won 9 in a row.
Yeah, I don't think many people had the Mets jump into the kind of start that they have gotten off to. 11-3. Phillips sharply hits Segura. There's one, and the turn to first. Double play. Segura, Herrera, Lind. 2 men out.
And his second double play turn by the Brewers. So Jimmy Nelson getting his ground balls when he needs them. About as easy as it gets. The tricky part of this was for Segura to get the tricky hop. And then it's easy after that. Brandon Phillips not even close to first base. Good job by Segura to get his body down, get those eyes to the level of the bounce, and able to handle it easily.
Jay Bruce with the bases empty. We're talking about hot starts, the Mets, and we all know what the Brewers have been going through. The Giants, the world champs, 5-10.
Yeah.
They included an 8-game losing streak. Brewers trying to snap theirs, which currently stands at 7. Giants and Dodgers playing tonight, and a little history in that game with Clayton Kershaw facing Madison Bumgarner. It's the first time that a reigning league MVP, a pitching matchup featuring a reigning MVP against a reigning World Series MVP.
That's good stuff.
That is that's quite the matchup.
Does that stuff just come to you or what?
Extensive research. Extensive research. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, that's good.
2-2 to Jay Bruce.
See, because a lot of times, you know, when BA throws that stuff out, there's somebody telling him.
Oh, is that right?
In his ear.
Oh, now you let the secret out.
And the guy next to you usually gives him some good information.
Mike Faulkner he's always on his game, but he brought it to another level last night. There were a lot of statistics to dig through, and Mike was all over it. Bruce strikes out swinging. So a leadoff walk, a 6-4-3 double play, and a punch out. Bottom of the fourth, tied at 1.
Hotel and Casino. We are even at 1, heading to the bottom of the 4th, and Brewers Community Foundation is asking fans to bring pet supplies to the ballpark April 24th through April 26th. It's this year's first drive. Features Hank the Ballpark pup, of course. One-of-a-kind commemorative pin will be given to each fan that donates an item or makes a $5 contribution. One pin available per fan. All the proceeds will go to the Wisconsin Humane Society, and last year their efforts generated more than $150,000 in support of all the furry friends at the Wisconsin Humane Society. Matt?
That's terrific. Thank you much, Sophia. Old Hank has raised a lot of awareness. The Brewers adopted him in spring training 2014.
A lot of awareness, and he's raised a lot of money.
Yes.
He really has.
That's a good point.
Been a nice addition.
Yeah. I'm aware, and they're a lot of generous folks out to help. Adam Lynn turns on one deep down the line, but foul. A bid for his second homer of the year, but steered it foul.
One of those rare curveballs from Cueto, 79 miles an hour, and Lynn just couldn't wait back long enough.
Here's the 1-2. Lynn singled to center. RBI knock, as a matter of fact. He drove in Elian Herrera. Reds scored in the top of the first, and the Brewers matched it. Well, for the time being, things have settled down between Johnny Cueto and Jimmy Nelson.
Yep, the only walk that Cueto was issued has come around to score.
Yeah, Herrera was able to advance on a balk, one of 2 balks against Cueto here tonight.
Well, you got to wonder if that's going to get into Cueto's head a little bit. I mean, with a man at first base, you wonder if he's going to be using that move anymore. He might be able to get a decent jump off of him. Might hesitate to throw over.
Lynn gets a piece, stays alive.
You get one of those balks with first and third. That'd be the time to get him.
Yes, sir. Angel Hernandez, the first base umpire. He's caught the Reds pitcher a couple of times. And again, the 1-2. This battle will continue.
A lot of times when a pitcher has a reputation of having a move like that, a balk move, not often, very often you're going to see, the first base coach, in this case Mike Guerrero, maybe get into the head of Angel Hernandez. He might, in the first inning, go over there and say, hey, take a look, keep an eye on his front foot and that front knee. You don't know if that happened or not, but that's something that you don't see called very often.
No, especially against Cueto as Lynn strikes out. As a matter of fact, the last, let's go back, he had one balk call against him last year.
And that's something that Ed Cedar does. Before the series, he has video of every pitcher for the Reds and looks for tendencies, what they do when they go to home. Some of the things that they do that will tip off whether they're going to first base.
8 in his career called against Cueto. Now 10 as you look at Eddie Cedar, third base coach. Davis hit a fly ball to center his first trip, and he'll lift this one toward the right side. That's going to carry just into the seats.
I'd like to have that one back. I mean, that was fastball that was very hittable, 95 miles an hour for Cueto, and Davis a little bit behind it. Just missed one his first time up.
Chris now 1 for 10 in this series. And scoots him back. Out in front, 2-2.
It's just so tough to pick up that changeup. He just has such good arm action on it. Just changes the grip and just pulls the string. Seems like the pitch just never gets to home plate. You're way out in front of it.
Hit over to shortstop. Zach Cozart, 2 men out.
Chris shaking his head, a little bit upset with himself. Had a pretty good one to hit. But it went back to the fastball after the changeup.
Ramos Ramirez popped up his first trip. Came in with a .356 career average against Cueto. Cueto made the All-Star team for the first time in his career last year. This is blooped into right. Coming in is Jay Bruce, and another 1, 2, 3 innings, second in a row for Johnny Cueto. We're through 4, and we're still tied at 1. 1. Happy to be joined in the booth now by Brewers principal owner Mark Ananazio. Mark, first, thanks so much for joining us. Good to see you here. Rock and I know fans, as we watch this team right now, we know about the struggles. We know the production isn't there. We wonder up here sometimes if certain guys are pressing. The old line, you're trying to hit a 3-run homer with the bases empty, that kind of thing. From your vantage point, what are you seeing here right now?
Well, one of the reasons I came out for a couple of reasons. And first of all, I miss seeing the team. Even as poor as we're playing, I miss seeing the team. And you know, for 10 seasons now, whenever things have gotten tough, I've always tried to show up wherever. My very first year, I remember, was in San Francisco. And I went up to see the team there. So I wanted to be here because things were not going well. I also wanted to try to get a pulse on what was going on. And I'm absorbing some of that. I don't know that it's pressing. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm not sure it's that.
Now, do you address the ball club in situations like this? Did you talk to the guys as a group in the clubhouse?
You know, Rock, I talk to the guys twice a year.
Job number 1, Marlon Byrd flies out to Ryan Braun.
And I talk twice a year, once in spring training as a group, once before the last series, either on the road or here. You know, they don't need a new Rockney speech from the owner who played high school baseball and couldn't hit a curveball. You know,
join the club.
But I do talk to guys individually, and I talked to a number of the guys tonight individually, including our new catcher, Juan Santino. So I talked to a number of the guys individually to provide support, but to also message a couple of things I wanted to say.
How much are you in contact with Doug Melvin on a regular basis to keep abreast of what's going on a day-to-day basis?
You know, interestingly, when it's, and we haven't had, fortunately, too many spells like this, when it's really this bad, to call every day is almost a downer. And by that, I don't mean, obviously, it's not like you're trying to pick yourself up, but you can get mired in the negativity. And to think clearly, you don't want to be mired in negativity. You need to see clearly, but you don't want to get, you know, brought down too much by it. So we talk, interestingly, we probably talked every couple days in this period, not every day like we sometimes do.
I mean, it was interesting. We were down in the field doing batting practice, and the three of us were talking, and you don't like to use the excuse of the injuries that this team has experienced. Talk a little bit about your thoughts on that.
Well, the injuries haven't led to the bad performance. You know, we were playing very poorly before Carlos and Scooter and Luke got hurt, and the new guys have stepped in. Martin Maldonado and Elian Herrera have played very nicely. Obviously, an offensive player like Carlos Gomez is, you know, he's a big loss to any team because he's such an impactful player. But, you know, we've got a lot more things going on. One of the things I talked to the reporters about today is maybe 5 of our guys out of 25 are playing to their career norms. It's the same way you're saying we can't hit a 3-run homer with nobody on base or whatever. You know, we don't need guys who aren't all-stars to all of a sudden become all-stars. We just need the players to do what they're able to do. And so we had a team that is typically had a number of quality starts with this rotation. They need to get quality starts like we, knock wood, like we seem to be on a path for tonight.
There's a ground ball to Ramirez. Chance to turn a couple. There's one. There's 2.
I was going to say we need guys to field their position, and there you have it.
There you go. Perfect. That's the answer right there. Well, let's. You can stay if you want. We'll continue with Mark Ananazio as we continue tied here in Milwaukee. Nelson here to face Cueto as we continue our conversation with Brewers principal owner Mark Ananazio in town to see his team and have a chance to chat with manager Ron Renicky and Doug Melvin and everyone involved. And again, for those just joining us, I think, Mark, your point here in the last half inning, you just want the players be who you are. Meet your own expectations. Don't try to go above and beyond. You're just looking for each player to meet his own expectations, and then things can start to turn around here a little bit.
Right. We were talking at the break about, the talent level. Walt Jocketty, who's the baseball ops president over in Cincinnati, was saying to me in our dugout about, he was telling me what a good team we had. Now, Walt was just being nice, but he looked at me and said, no, I'm telling you, coming out of spring training, we thought you guys were very competitive. So, I don't think we're the only ones who looked at it that way. And if you look at our roster of players and look at our, by the way, as I look at our great fan base, we have 30,000 fans here tonight, and it's just terrific support from this community from Milwaukee baseball, and it really makes me feel like whatever I'm doing, I need to do more to ensure some success here. And we've got a number of you look at our lineup, even the injury-prone lineup tonight. There are a number of players who can hit in this lineup, and we just got to hit.
And it's good with the young players coming up. You had Herrera. I mean, the four guys yesterday: Herrera, Rogers. You had Maldonado and Logan Schaefer, and typically bench players. I mean, they stepped up yesterday. That's going to have to continue with the injuries that these guys have faced so far.
We have and we have confidence that Martinez could be a starting catcher on a number of teams. Gerardo Parra could be a starting outfielder on a number of teams. Elian Herrera a couple years ago, terrific success with the Dodgers, just terrific. And
Parra goes down swinging, out number one here in the bottom of the fifth.
But the main thing is your main guys need to get going. Aramis and Ryan need to get going. And I've said a lot of very positive things about Martin Maldonado here, but obviously Jonathan Lucroy was an all-star, and I think will continue to play at an all-star level once he's back from his injury. And Carlos Gomez was we had 4 all-stars last year. Just last year. So those guys get back and play at the level they're capable of. This team is going to win some games.
How much lack of, or maybe overconfidence, do you think there is going on down in that Brewers dugout right now?
Well, we talked about this a little bit at the break. It's sometimes a lack of confidence, presents itself as false confidence, or I think there's a little bit of, well, we know we're better than this, but you don't really hear the conviction. And some of that gives you concern as an owner, and some of that makes you feel like that's the right thing. Because if the team is 2-12 and there's a lot of false bravado, well, that's not really very good. So I think in a sport that's predicated on failure, it's one of the hardest things about the sport is the mental grind, day after day after day. Even when you succeed, you get a hit 3 times out of 10, or a quality start is 1 run every other inning for 6 innings. Right. That's called quality, and we've only been able to do that twice this year before tonight.
Well, you got a chance to meet with. There's a base hit, Martin Maldonado, right on cue. As Mark said, he is a very good player, and he is the starting catcher now with Lucroy on the DL. Delivers his first hit of the night. 1 out, 1 on.
Yeah, cut fastball that just kind of stayed in the middle part of the plate, and Maldonado with those big long arms able to hook it out into left field. Hey, you got to take advantage of the Cueto mistakes. I mean, there's not too many better than Cueto mixing his pitches. He makes a mistake, you have to jump on it.
Mark, I know you had a chance to visit with a lot of the media members. They had questions for you, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't know if I have the quote exactly right, but being asked about Ron and about Doug, you said Ron didn't serve up. He didn't throw the pitches that led to grand slams. Someone else did that. There's only so much a manager can do. Did I quote you quite? Did I get you right there?
That's pretty close. Yeah, that, the purpose of coming here you know, which I stated was to state at the top of the inning here, was to show up and be supportive at a time we need to be supportive, and you know, to point out that we need accountability, which I pointed out a number of times in the interview, and that starts with the players in the clubhouse. And you know, not to this is not a Doug Melvin, Ron Renicky trip. Other than I want to get perspective from them on firsthand as to what's going on.
Well, as you said, you're absorbing, you're gathering information. You watch it, but now just to be here and talk to the guys, that's how it works, right? You're gathering the information and finding out how to get this thing turned around. This team with a lot of talent, just trying to pull it together.
Situations like this, I always wonder, how's Debbie doing?
Debbie offered to join me, actually, and I suggested to her, since she takes the losses as hard as any of our fans.
She wears her heart on her sleeve with this Brewers baseball club.
I understand the opening day graphic was a little challenging with us down front. We weren't sure what the score was. You could look at Deb's face and see.
Yeah.
But listen, we both are very passionate about the team. Our whole family's passionate about the team as the fans are, and we just, you know, we want to see winning Brewer baseball, and that has to start by playing good Brewer baseball. And, you know, so far so good tonight, but we need to see 9 innings of this.
I mean, you have to be encouraged with Jimmy Nelson. I mean, he's looked pretty good. I mean, he was a big wild card in that rotation coming in, but so far so good.
There's a bouncing ball to Cozart. Throw over to first is in time.
Yeah, Jimmy's been great, by the way.
Mark, we appreciate you coming up. Appreciate your candor, and we'll hope to see this team get things flipped here real soon.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks, Mark.
Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham. 1-800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. It remains a 1-1 game as we move to the top of the 6th inning here at Miller Park. And we thank Mark Ananazio for joining us here. That's pretty good stuff when a team is struggling rock the way this Brewer team is, and here's your principal owner. He's out there and he's giving you his perspective of what's going on. That's I'm not sure what the roll call would be if you look all across sports, but Brewer fans know that the guy in charge around here,
he cares.
He does.
He really does
lot.
care. Yeah.
Johnny Cueto leading off the inning, pops it up, and Aramis Ramirez squeezes it first out of the inning.
And I think even more important, I mean, Mark's not afraid to come up here and talk to things when they're not going all that well. It's not just when things are great, postseason bound. And again, I don't know how many other owners do that either.
Appreciate his time. Lineup turns over after the Cueto pop out. Here's Billy Hamilton. 1 for 1 with a walk. He has stole a base and he has scored the Reds' only run so far. One after the first pitch. Fouls it away. Well, you certainly know Mark far better than I, but it just seems like this is a sport. All sports are, emotion plays a big part of it, but he said he's absorbing. He's gathering information right now, watching his team try to fight through it. There's a ground ball to Herrera, 2 up, 2 down.
Well, that brings us to tonight's Tyrant of the Game winner, Under the Dome Sports Bar and Grill in Neenah, Wisconsin. Never been in Neenah? Of course you have.
Of course I have. Yes.
If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. I keep forgetting you're from around here.
I am. Just,
BA just hasn't been around too many of these places. I apologize. Hey, this offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
I like to visit various locations. I think you should do that.
Neenah Menasha.
Yes.
Area. Yep.
You should. Have ourselves a good pitching matchup here. The runs were scored in the first inning. Also with a curve that Votto waves at and does not get. 0-2.
A pitch that I think the Cincinnati Reds are wondering where did he come up with that. You know that the scouting reports were talking about it, but until you actually get up there in the batter's box and see it as it comes out of your hand or out of his hand, you really don't know what it's going to do.
That's hit in the air, left center field. Davis at the track will make the catch. Allowed out in a 1-2-3 inning for Jimmy Nelson. Still tied in Milwaukee. Good outing from Jimmy Nelson. He's given up just the 3 hits, as you see. Earlier tonight, our CarSoup.com trivia question. Prior to last night, when was the last time 2 teams combined to hit 3 grand slams in a National League game? And there is your answer. Astros and the Cubbies. Back in 1987. Leon Herrera loops one to short. Very quickly, 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Those are those grand slams that the Brewers and Reds carved their way into big league history.
Yeah, that one right there. Now, there's a little bit of a connection here with that game and last night's game. Billy Hatcher, the first base coach for the Reds, was on the Astros when they combined with the Cubs for 3 grand slams in a game. So he's been involved in half of the 3 grand slam games in Major League history.
There's Billy. Blocked there at the moment by Devin Mesoraco. There's Billy Hatcher. Ryan Braun will lift one into right center field, and routine for Jay Bruce. 2 men out. For the record, the Cubs won that little game of home run derby 22-7.
Wow.
That information again courtesy of Michael. It's all over. Had a football-like score last night, that's for sure. And as we thought could happen, at least to this point, runs much more difficult to come by. Good work by both Johnny Cueto and Jimmy Nelson. Adam Lind, an RBI single in the first. Struck out in the fourth. Cueto has walked 1 and struck out 5 through 5 2/3. And a bouncer to Votto, and he'll handle it unassisted. And the Brewers again retired in order. Through 6, still 1-1. At 1. And now for Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Good pitching and some good defense as well from Jimmy Nelson, starting this double play that helped slow down the Reds in the first inning, and then a 6-4-3 twin killer in the fourth.
Not done yet.
No.
3 double plays tonight so far in the first 6 innings. Jimmy getting his ground balls when he needs them. Boy, you like the energy that he showed on that last double play. Fired up to get out of that mess.
3, 4, and 5 hitters for Cincinnati in the top of the 7th. Todd Frazier. So we are getting close to the polar opposite of what we saw last night. Fastball blows by Frazier. 0-2. In the top of the 9th in D.C. St. Louis leading the Nationals 6-5. Pirates over the Cubs in the top of the 8th 4-2. Frazier has stolen a base here in this series. The Reds 17 of 17 in that department here to begin 2015. There's a ground ball along the line. Ramirez takes care of Frazier for out number 1.
Hey, at Miller Park, Friday nights are student nights. Every Friday home game, high school and college students can purchase $10 Terrace Reserve tickets and Lowe's bleacher tickets for $15, plus enjoy a special $3 happy hour menu from when the gates open until the first pitch. For details, visit brewers.com/students.
It's a nice crowd here. Midweek game. These fans will get out. They'll tailgate this. It's cold to a lot of people, but it's all right
it's
here.
A nice crowd here for a Wednesday night. I mean, really bad weather is good for attendance here at Miller Park, right?
You know you're going to play, right?
You know you're going to play. It's nice and warm. What else is there to do?
Night at the ballpark.
Unlike the open air stadiums. This would be a night back at Old County Stadium where you had about 2,500 in the seats.
And shivering.
Cold and blustery.
Brandon Phillips to right field. Braun, long run. Got it. 2 men out. And you're right. I sat through several of those kind of games. I mean, you wear the layers now.
Yeah, me too, out in the bullpen. You get those blast furnaces blowing on you out there in that bullpen at County Stadium. I miss the old ballpark, but
oh yeah, great memories.
A lot of great memories, but look at this place, incredible.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this. Fans continue to be very supportive year after year. It's a fun sports week here in the state of Wisconsin. You have the Bucks tomorrow night against the Chicago Bulls, game 3. Bucks have been going toe-to-toe with them, but Bulls are awfully good. They were able to protect the home floor, but now it's back at the BMO Harris Bradley Center. Let's see what happens. Jay Bruce struck out twice tonight.
Yeah, pushing and shoving in that Bucks-Bulls game.
Playoff basketball, man.
You wonder how that's going to play out tomorrow night. I'm going.
You like going, don't you? Like watching the Bucks.
I do. I'm not sure what's going on out there, but I like going. I'm not a basketball aficionado, but it's a lot of fun.
Bruce, a swing and a miss. And Jimmy Nelson is rolling. Stomping off the mound, showing some energy and punching out. Jay Bruce for the 3rd time tonight. Hotel and Casino tied at 1. Reds and Brewers, bottom of the 7th inning. Hey, the Bucks continue their playoff series against the Bulls tomorrow night, and your home for the Bucks playoffs coverage is Fox Sports Wisconsin. Be sure to tune in to a special 1-hour Bucks Live pregame show before and after every game. Series moves to Milwaukee tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Be there. Check out Bucks Live and the Bucks and the Chicago Bulls. Chris Davis leading off the bottom of the 7th. Johnny Cueto up. No balls, 2 strikes. The offense has come in the first inning tonight, and Chris went around. That is strike 3, and that's strikeout number 6 for Johnny Cueto.
He's been ahead in the count to just about everybody tonight except for Elian Herrera, who drew a walk. The only walk issued by Cueto tonight, and he ended up coming around to score. Johnny Cueto's only walked 4 batters in his first 4 starts.
A couple of games where he struck out 10. Last year in 243 2/3 innings, he struck out 242.
Now, when you consider that he pitches half of his games at Great American Ballpark, that earned run average that he threw out there, 225, that's amazing.
That really is.
I mean, people say Miller Park is a home run hitter's park. It's nothing compared to Great American.
Yeah, you hold hitters down like that in that yard.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball flies in that park. Brewers will be there next week. Monday, Tuesday night, and Wednesday afternoon. One and 2 to Aramis Ramirez, looking for his first hit this evening. He's hit Cueto very, very well in his career. Trying to get on track tonight. I mentioned he singled as a pinch hitter last evening.
And he singled to right field. That's a good sign for Ramirez. Not trying to pull it. Grounded one between first and second into right field to drive in a run.
Count holds, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jonathan Bloxton getting loose in the Brewers bullpen. Former Red. Again, the 2-2. And a little blooper, and that's going to drop behind Votto. A base hit for Aramis Ramirez.
You'll take that any day. And a little fist job over the head of Votto.
A little smile from Ramirez saying, I will, as you said, I'll take that.
Yeah, not the hardest baseball he's hit this season, but it was effective. Look how far down on that bat. That baseball hits on Phantom Cam. And Ramirez able to muscle it into right field for a base hit. A 1-out single.
It's hit number 4 for the Crew tonight. Gerardo Parra has one of them in the second inning. He's left stranded at second. First pitch swinging, fouls it off. Cueto 7-3 in his career against the Brewers, but 0-3 here at Miller Park. One and one. It's Ted Barrett, the third base umpire, the crew chief.
Brewers just not able to get the barrel of the bat on the baseball. Of course, Reds haven't been able to do that on Jimmy Nelson either. A little bit out in front, a little bit behind it. High pitch count in the first. And that's the inning that the Brewers are able to pick up their run.
His pitch count hit 101 in his last start. It was against the Cardinals. Cueto approaching triple digits now.
Yeah, Jimmy Nelson has been much more efficient with his pitches tonight than has Johnny Cueto. 94 pitches for Cueto, only 83 for Jimmy Nelson so far.
Here in the bottom of the seventh. One out, and Ramirez the runner at first. just missed. Brewers trying to battle back here. The Reds took the first two in this series Monday night and last night. Locked up in a good one here in game 3. The 2-2. Fly ball to right. Jay Bruce drifting back. Lots of room. 2 men out.
Yeah, just missed that one too. Just like Davis early in the game. Davis back in the first. Just a little bit underneath.
Martin Maldonado steps in. Our Powerball home run count. Martin Maldonado getting his first big shot last night. They'll get the Brewers back into the game after the Reds jumped to a 4-0 lead. Brewers countered with 4. 2 coming on that blast off the bat of Maldonado. See if Cueto can make a mistake here, and if the Brewers can make him pay.
And Maldonado's going to have to hit the ball out of the ballpark, you would think, to score Ramirez from first. Ramirez not running all that well these days. Outfield playing deep for Cincinnati.
Cueto last year gave up 22 homers. He's served up 1 so far this year. His numbers pretty good all across the board except the 1-loss record. 0-2, but his ERA coming in 2.14. Here's the 0-2. And there's a fly ball to center. Billy Hamilton. Inning over. They get a hit from Ramirez, but stranding at first. We're still tied through 7. You by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. Still tied at 1 as we move to the 8th inning. Brewers and Reds in a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Milwaukee Brewers. It may not be reproduced or transmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Milwaukee Brewers, LLC. Jimmy Nelson back out there as we begin the 8th inning. Marlon Byrd, Brian Pena, Zach Cozart. Byrd has made a defensive highlight tonight. Rolling catch. Took one away from Segura back in the 3rd. And this is popped up. Elian Herrera out in shallow right. 1 out.
Yeah, good combination, good mix of fly ball to ground ball outs. Of course, the 3 double play balls that he's been able to induce certainly helped him out tonight. We got 5 punch outs, a lot of ground ball outs, and some pop ups.
Second strong outing for Jimmy in this yard. 7 innings, a 2-hit shutout baseball in his first start of the year against the Pirates.
Hardest hit baseballs came the first 2 hitters of the game. And he's really been able to settle down nicely tonight.
Yeah, Billy Hamilton led off with a single, stole second, and came around to score on a Joey Votto single. And then he restored order by getting Todd Frazier to bounce into a 1-4-3 double play. Brandon Phillips a fly ball, and it's been pretty quiet since for Cincinnati. The 1-1. Pena takes away, 2 balls, 1 strike. See if Jimmy can get through this inning. It's 9-1-2 in the Brewers order in the bottom of the 8th. And that is hit into center field. Back goes Parra. Still going back near the wall. Runs it down. 2 men out.
He's smooth, isn't he?
He is. Makes it look so easy.
Yeah, he always knows exactly where he is on the field. Never panics. Takes his eye off the ball just a little bit, just for a second, to get his bearings to see where he is on the field, and able to make that catch easily up against the wall. Take his eye off of it quickly. There's the warning track. He knows how many steps it takes to get to the wall, and no panic.
They're worth another look, courtesy of Columbia St. Mary's. Gold Glovers not only make the spectacular play, they make difficult plays, maybe not spectacular, but difficult plays look easy.
Yeah, you might not see them on the highlight shows because of that.
That's exactly right.
You know, they know the hitters, they know how to get a good jump, and they're always waiting for the baseball.
Zach Cozart. He has hit 3 home runs in this series. And tonight he has struck out, bounced into a double play. Enzo Hernandez says no.
Yeah, never real comfortable with this guy up in this series. Yeah, 2 outs, nobody on. He's been swinging a hot bat.
Yeah, certainly not known as a great offensive threat, but he has in his career shown power, and he is showing it here early this season and specifically this week. 2-1. Fly ball popped up, actually. It'll be Segura drifting out a few steps, and Nelson puts him down. 1, 2, 3, bottom of the 8th. 1-1 the score.
One game as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, Jerry. We were looking at this great pitching matchup between Nelson and Cueto tonight. Our Marshfield Clinic shining moment is the Brewer starter.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Always pitching against another great pitcher, you want to step up. But you look at Jimmy Nelson tonight, we talked so much about command. But with that command, you have to have that good location. Tonight, using all his pitches, having that great location, getting ahead of hitters, a big part of why he had such a good night.
Done for the night, so Schaefer into pinch hit to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning. We have Brewers Live postgame on the way. Hope for a good finish here to end a 7-game losing streak.
All right, Craig, Augie, thank you very much. I know Augie was fired up for this pitching matchup, and it has been as advertised.
You know, Jimmy had an impressive slider. I think he's found that slider. That was a good pitch for him tonight. Not as many curveballs because I think he had a good feel for the slider tonight, and Maldonado recognizing that, and he took advantage of it.
You get all three going. Fastball, slider, curve.
Yeah. Brewers been waiting for Jimmy to get that slider going.
Logan Schaefer pinch hitting for Jimmy. 8 innings of 3-hit, 1-run ball.
Never really had it going last year at the major league level. But had a good one tonight.
Much needed. Schaefer started last night, had a hit in 3 trips. Pinch hitting for Jimmy Nelson. Shoots one foul.
Brewers have K-Rod getting loose down in that bullpen. He might come in regardless. There's nobody else getting loose. In a tie game in the 9th, I mean, home team normally brings their closer in. I think K-Rod gets the 9th regardless of what the Brewers do here.
Schaefer down the line, fair ball. It'll go to the corner. Schaefer on his way to second, and that's how the Brewers begin the home half of the 8th.
Yeah, well done. He stayed right on that one. A 2-strike pitch, 2-2 count. Cueto with a fastball, and Logan just trying to serve it out there. Just tries to make contact with 2 strikes. And watch the way he gets on top of it. And slices it down that left field line. Well, great start to this 8th inning for Milwaukee. Look where he makes contact. Way back in the strike zone. Let it get to him. And put a good swing on it.
Top of the order. Here's Gene Segura. Looking for his first hit. Actually, he's going to lay one down. Cueto, the only play is at first. Well done. Gene Segura moves the runner to third with 1 out of the 8th.
Well, the Brewers electing to use the bunt to get him to third base. Now, Segura's been one of their hottest hitters in the first 2 weeks of the season.
A little small ball.
Yeah, Ilian Herrera to drive him in. You know, the Reds are going to be bringing the infield in.
At the plate, presented by Wendy's. And he scored the only run the Brewers have. Ilian Herrera. Ground ball and a soft liner. His last trip in the 6th.
Be alive for the squeeze.
Schaefer, who runs well, off the bag at third, is Herrera down a strike.
Herrera, a good bunter. Logan Schaefer, very fast. And you know the Reds are thinking about it. Ron Renneke likes to use the squeeze.
Wheels are turning here in a tie game late. One and one. Now Todd Frazier spending a lot of time getting near that bag at third. Got to do all he can to keep Segura close. Cueto ready with a 1-1. Just got a piece. Herrera last night drove in 5 runs, 4 in 1 swing. He had 5 RBIs all of last year. Chance for Big RBI here against one of the best pitchers in the game.
Yep, everything up in the zone. Cueto looking for the strikeout.
The 1-2. Schaefer started this inning with a double to the left field corner. Segura moved him over with a sacrifice bunt. And that is strike 3 called. Strikeout number 7 for Cueto.
Yep, right at the top of the strike zone. A little too close to take with 2 strikes in that spot. Two-seam fastball. He was working Herrera up in the strike zone. Maybe look a little high.
Yeah.
I mean, that's typically a pitch that's not going to be called a strike, but again, 2 strikes. You got the go-ahead run at third base. You can't leave it up to the umpire.
Ryan Braun with 2 outs. And Schaefer the runner at third. Let's take a look at the Powerball home run leaderboard. Ryan Braun with the 231st of his career, first of this year. Happened on Monday night. A single right now would be great. And Hernandez, Angel Hernandez says yes, he went 0-2.
Yeah, he went. That wasn't even close.
Yep. Braun down 2 strikes and nothing.
You got a battle to try and figure out a way to put the ball in play here.
Golden opportunity here in the 8th inning for Milwaukee. Fouls it off his leg for the 2nd time tonight. He really felt it the first time around, and this wasn't great either. Oh,
yeah, that was a little higher.
Yeah. Jimmy Nelson was terrific tonight. Now looking for Braun to get a big hit. A run, 5 hits for the Brewers. A run, 3 hits for Cincinnati. You see what Ryan has done in these situations. 2 outs and runners in scoring position. That's the situation he's in now. And we'll do it again.
Yeah, consistently working him inside. Cueto able to put that one right on the corner. And Braun just trying to protect the plate, a little bit behind that pitch.
Trying to get things turned around. An opportunity knocks here for Milwaukee. The 1-2 pitch. He has had a flair for the dramatic, Ryan Braun. Trying to add to it here. His team trying to snap a losing streak. That bounced up there and good block from Pena.
Yeah, that was not an easy pitch to block. That bounced in front of home plate, and he did a nice job smothering it and keep it in front of him. Changeup, spikes it. Nice job blocking it.
Schaefer the runner at third. A full count to Braun. Tie game at 1 in the 8th. Here we go. Little bouncer, just foul. .120 pitches for Cueto tonight.
Yeah, and he's not about to come out of this game.
Nope. Again, the payoff. Ball 4. Runners at the corners. And now Brian Price will make his way to the mound.
Now the Reds with 3 left-handers down in the bullpen and 4 right-handers. Got a lefty getting loose, but I can't imagine any scenario where Brian Price takes Cueto out right here. This is his game.
It was Tony Cingrani warming up in the Reds bullpen, but you're right, Rock. Price is going to stay with his all-star.
No, there's no way he's going to bring somebody in, and Cueto, that's his guy. Going to let him finish the inning. That was a nice at bat by Braun. He got down in the count 0-2.
It's a second walk given up by Cueto. Adam Lind has the Brewers 1 RBI tonight. Unscoring single in the first that brought Herrera around.
If you're Ryan Braun, pretty good chance he's not going to first base. He's not going to throw to first. This is where that balk would come in handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Be ideal. But you're right. Probably not going over that way. Lind down 0-2. Adam Lind with 7 RBIs. Number 8 would be big. Nothing in 2 the count.
You think Payne wanted that pitch up? I mean, he was literally standing up behind home plate.
That's wasting 1.
Yeah.
Schaefer the runner at third. Braun at first. Upstairs again.
See how Cueto's working up in the strike zone in this 8th inning. More than the rest of the game. Fastballs up to every hitter.
Lind not chasing yet. Here comes the 2-2. Got him swinging. Cueto works out of it. A leadoff double from Logan Schaefer. The Brewers are unable to score. We go to the ninth, tied at 1. Casino, book your stay now.
Hey, this season, every Sunday at Miller Park will feature an all-fan giveaway, including this Sunday as the Brewers wrap up their homestand against the Cardinals, and all fans will get a Willie Peralta bobblehead, courtesy of U.S. Cellular. Visit Brewers.com for tickets.
There it is. Look forward to that on Sunday. Looking forward to this ninth inning as Francisco Rodriguez in a tie game, which the call for the Crew.
Well, fifth game. It's been a while for K-Rod. He pitched a couple of days ago after being off for about a week. You don't want your closer sitting around that long, so maybe the tune-up a couple of days ago will have some benefit for him tonight. He's got the tough part of the lineup coming up after the number 9 spot.
Yes, Skip Schumacher will pinch hit for Johnny Cueto. He and Jimmy Nelson matching zeros for zeros from the second inning on. Schumacher a rip and a miss.
It shows you why Johnny Cueto is one of the best in the business. And man at second, nobody out, and had to get through the middle of the Brewers order, keeping him off the board.
Yep, Logan Schaefer doubled. Segura bunts him to third, but strikeout from Herrera, a walk to Braun, and a strikeout of Adam Lind. 8 strikeouts tonight for Cueto. Gave up 5 hits, a 1 run, walked 2. So another strong performance for both Johnny Cueto and Jimmy Nelson. And he just punched out Schumacher. Good start for K-Rod here in the ninth.
Yep, right on the inside corner. Schumacher probably sitting on the changeup. K-Rod throws the 4-seam fastball right on the edge, and Schumacher caught looking.
Top of the order. Rodriguez now will work against Hamilton. Singled and scored in the first. He shows bunt and takes.
Yeah, he bunts for a base hit. It's like a double, maybe a triple. He's not afraid to steal both second and third.
Stole the base tonight, making him 9 for 9 on the year. Curve bounces up there, 2-0.
Yeah, this is the last guy you want to have on base, especially with Frankie. He's not a guy that holds runners very well.
Here comes the 2-0. That's in the dirt.
Yeah, last guy you want to walk. Absolute last guy, maybe in all of baseball, that you want to walk ever, but particularly in the ninth.
Joey Votto waits on deck. Three and one.
The problem is with Billy Hamilton and the Brewers, I mean, you throw one down the middle, he's shown some pretty good power against Milwaukee.
Homered 4 times against the Brewers last year. 4 of his 6 home runs against Milwaukee. And he has just walked the premier base stealer. Let's take a look at what's on tap, presented by Miller Lite. No television tomorrow, so come on out to Miller Park for a 12:40 start. Homer Bailey and Kyle Loesch, your pitching matchup. 2 pitchers who are much better than what the record and ERAs for both Bailey and Loesch will show.
Hey, Kyle due for a good outing tomorrow.
Yes, he is. Bailey coming back from injury. They had to shut him down last year. Hamilton, the runner at first. K-Rod will check him. Last year, Hamilton stole 56 bases, but was caught a league high 23. Has not been caught yet this year.
And it's going to be tough for Maldonado because Rodriguez very slow to home plate with that high leg kick. But if anybody can throw him out, it's Martin Maldonado,
Yes,
one of the best throwing arms in baseball. But Rodriguez has to give him a chance.
Trying to keep him as close as he can to the bag. Runner holds. The pitch is high.
And the other thing you have to think about here is you don't want to try and be too quick to the plate and make a mistake to Votto.
Votto an RBI single in the first, a fly ball to left, and another fly ball to the warning track in left. He has homered twice in this series. Runner holds again, and that's smacked up the middle, a base hit. Hamilton turns second. On his way to third, as Parr's throw cut off by Segura, and the Reds have him on the corners.
And that's exactly what happened right there. You can see Francisco Rodriguez trying to be a little bit quicker than usual and made a mistake. Usually that high leg kick went with a slide step and threw one right down the middle for Votto. Check out where this pitch is. Out over the plate. Votto hits it hard into center field, and Billy Hamilton into third base. He had Parra playing deep, and by the time he gets to it, not able to get Hamilton, but he does hit the cutoff man.
Well, the Brewers had a threat in the bottom of the eighth. The Cueto turned back, and now the Reds threatening in the ninth. Let's see what Rodriguez can do against Todd Frazier. Drops a curve in there for strike one.
Yeah, first time the Reds have had a man as far as second base since the first inning.
Exactly right.
That's how good Jimmy Nelson was tonight.
Reds with just 4 hits. 2 coming in the first. There's the 0-1. Rodriguez struck out Schumacher to start the inning. Hamilton walked, moved to third on the single to center off the bat of Joey Votto. And now Todd Frazier. He's driven in 13 runs so far this season. And this is popped up. Maldonado calls for it, and that is a big out.
Yes, it is. A fastball in, and Todd Frazier jams himself. That's a good pitch by K-Rod right there. And you see the fastball grip, gets in on him, and he pops it straight up to Maldonado in foul ground. Huge out.
Runners still at first and third. Rodriguez set to square off with Brandon Phillips. He is 1 for 7 in his career against K-Rod. Chopped it foul.
Phillips, a very good fastball hitter. You throw him the changeup, it's got to be down like that last one. Don't want to leave anything up in his eyes. He's a good high ball hitter.
Old-fashioned pitchers duel here tonight. Jimmy Nelson and Johnny Cueto, and now it turns over to the bullpens. Rodriguez trying to work out of a ninth inning jam. The 0-1. It gets by Maldonado. Here comes Hamilton. Throw to the plate, and he is safe at home. And the Reds take the lead.
What a crusher that is. Well, he puts the change up in the dirt. Anybody else in baseball is at third base, and I don't even think they try to score. But Billy Hamilton, as fast as it gets, tough pitch to block, and you got to wonder if K-Rod's all right. He's shaking his pitching hand. Yep, beats it. He stands up. K-Rod, you hope he's all right. Tough pitch to block from Maldonado. Then here comes Hamilton. See what he does. Yeah, he goes head first, does Frankie, and maybe a scrape on that pitching hand. See, as it scrapes along the dirt as he slides. Yeah, that's a tough way to have that run score. Well, you knew bad things were going to happen when you walked Billy Hamilton. Now, again, I don't think anybody else even tries to score unless Billy Hamilton, except for Billy Hamilton. Because anybody else would have been out.
He scores on a wild pitch. Votto to second. As the Reds take the lead here in the top of the ninth. Phillips with a fly ball to center. Gerardo Parra makes the catch, and that's it for the Reds. But Cincinnati takes the lead. Hamilton got it started. The Reds need a run to tie. Brewers need a run to tie. Brewers need one to tie, two to win. Reds grab the lead at the top of the ninth, 2-1. Billy Hamilton walks, moves to third on a Votto single, and then Hamilton scored in a wild pitch, and now the Brewers face Aroldis Chapman.
Well, Chapman pitched last night in the ninth inning, struck out the side, but before that hadn't pitched since the 14th, so a lot of time between appearances for Chapman. But looked good in doing it yesterday. 3 for 3 in saves so far in appearance number 8.
So here we go. Chris Davis, Aramis Ramirez, and Gerardo Parra. And the bottom of the ninth. In a quiet night and a quiet series for Davis. 1 for 12 here so far in this set with the Reds. I mentioned last night Chapman last year had a fastball that averaged 100 miles per hour.
He had 100 a few times last night.
And 100 right there, and Davis can't catch up to it. 0-2. This is only the third time that Davis has faced Chapman. Looking for his first hit against the flame-throwing left-hander. 101.
Gets it up there a little better when it's a save opportunity, doesn't he?
Yeah, he came in last night with a 6-run lead to get some work. A little more high leverage right now.
Think about Chapman. I mean, he throws so hard, but he doesn't walk many guys. I mean, he throws strikes with that 100+ mile/per-hour fastball. He throws a slider. He also turns the fastball over once in a while.
A 1-2 got him swinging. 102 miles per hour. One out here in the ninth.
That four-seam fastball, 102 up in his zone, impossible to get a piece of. The only chance against Chapman is to make him get it down in the strike zone a little bit, but you really don't have a whole lot of time to decide whether you want to swing or not.
Ramos Ramirez. From last night to tonight, Chapman has faced 4. He has struck out 4. Ramirez singled to right his last trip. Chapman not messing around.
Yeah, fastballs, why not, right?
You're right about his control. He had all the strikeouts last year, 106, walked 24.
Right.
I mean, that walk strikeout rate ratio, it's 4-1.
And that's the thing that makes him so good. He doesn't walk guys. Guys that usually throw 100+, they're all over the place. There's that two-seamer I was talking about. Takes a little off, 88 miles an hour.
That was a umpire lost count of the strikes, by the way.
Yeah, Randy's saying that's 2 strikes. Relax.
That's why Ramirez was smiling there. Trust me, it happens. Even from up here. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Sometimes you forget, right?
Yep. I'll chuckle with him and not at him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. In the air, right side. Bruce gives chase. Just in foul territory. Makes the catch, and the Brewers down to their final out. And Ron Renicky is going to turn to Jason Rogers, who will pinch hit.
I'm looking for a long ball. Rogers been swinging the bat pretty well. Not sure he's seen this kind of heat, but
had a couple of hits last night and a starting role at third. He has faced him 1 time. Back to last season. Moments like these are definitely welcome to the big league moments. 0-1. Perez with a run in the top of the 9th to break the tie. Any fastball double digits, and it's almost an upset. Chapman looking for his 4th save. Brewers looking to tie the game. Down to their final strike. A run on 5 hits for the Brewers, 2 runs on just 4 hits for Cincinnati. Here's the 1-2, and that is strike 3 called, and a roll is Chapman. The last 2 nights he's faced 6 Brewers. He has struck out 5. This punch out of Rogers ends the game. So the Reds score in the 9th inning, and they now have taken the first 3 games of this series. They'll wrap it up tomorrow afternoon. Wow. Final score, Reds 2 and the Brewers 1. Let's send it down to Craig Kashawn, standing by with Jerry Augustine with Brewers Live postgame.
All right, Matt, hard to believe this losing streak continues. A very well-pitched game by Jimmy Nelson will break down his game today, Cueto, and how dangerous Hamilton has become on the bases.